Hello folks, welcome to a semi-exciting video. I must confess I've been really struggling to make videos past few weeks, months, so apologies for that. Mental, arithmetic and various other things going on, busy work, etc. I just haven't felt the what's the word for it? Pizzazz to make videos. But anyway, I'm going to force myself to make one today and force you to watch it. Alright, let's get this lab updates, or barn update for that matter, started. First thing we'll have a look at here is our log splitter project. So pretty traditional setup. I got some old wheel hubs from some, I think it was a Fiat something at the scrapyard, and some wheels made up an axle, and we have a large girder here forming the backbone. Now I had a hydraulic ram sitting here because I was kind of sizing stuff up, and just this morning I decided to test it first with compressed air. And it's as well that I did. So you'll notice the location of the cylinder, and you'll notice the there's nothing in there. Then you'll come over here, you notice the location of the piston, and you'll notice that they're fairly far apart. And so I had this sitting up on the beam here. There it was sitting. Plugged in the compressed air, and the compressor was spinning up, and I was over here working on the JCB, and the next thing, there's a bang and a whoosh, and one part goes that way, other part goes that way. Told to myself, well, if that's what 90-pound air can do, yeah, 3,000 pound hydraulic fluid would have had a more interesting approach. So I think this ram is going to be, as I hear them say these days, no bueno. So I'm going to have to drop this over to the ram fixing people and get them to fix it for me. So that's, yes, log splitter project, because I have a lot of logs to split. So going to be using an old flywheel. I think that's the IS300 flywheel we'll be using for the pusher to push into be putting the blade here and pushing the logs into it. I do have some other rams, so they're not as long as that one. So, but yes, that was today's incident. So in speaking of, we'll go back in the shed. Speaking of the log splitter, what's going to be powering it is this thing. This is a rather serious hydraulic power pack. Now I got this from Dave a good few years ago, and it was something ridiculously cheap. I don't know if anyone knows anything about these. I'll try and get you a look at the plate on it there. I couldn't find anything searching for the serial number or the type of thing, particularly a diagram for this insane valve body would be quite interesting. It does run. I've put fluid in it. There's a manual loading valve, so when you crank that, the pump loads up. It's a transducer of some sort here. Lots of 24 volt solenoids. I did get some Hirschman caps for those. And this valve here, as far as I know, is a 20 milliamp controlled proportional valve. So it's probably a little bit overkill for splitting logs, but should be capable, let's say, of doing the job nonetheless. So if you want a dedicated log splitter video series, let me know. Otherwise I'll just pop in and out of this as I made progress on it. Will have to be pretty quick though, because winter is approaching. Now I know some of you folks have been asking me about the truck. I didn't have a lot of updates for you on the truck, unfortunately. We do have a few things that have developed on it though. I haven't been exactly stationary. Currently still diesel, and I just use it around the property here. It's currently storing a load of, I won't say junk, but just a lot of bits and pieces in there for me, and in the bed and stuff like that. I did have an unfortunate incident here in June when I was, there was a big tree stump here, and I had to dig this tree stump out, and the little mini digger that I had just could not lift it out. So of course Genius decided to use the truck to pull the thing out, and I think I've managed to wreck the front diff. But as we know, every silver lining has a cloud. They've managed to pick up a new front diff. So fairly soon, for the weather, the weather gets too bad, okay, fair enough, joke. Before it gets too cold, I'm going to pop that diff into the front. So other truck thing is that I picked up a gearbox. So this is basically Mitsubishi L200 box. So very same as what's in the truck. Now the advantage of having this out of the truck is that we're going to be able to do our adapter plate and coupler and all of this here for our Nissan Leaf drivetrain. I've been very lucky, and I'll cover this in the next actual truck update, but Brat Industries in Canada has again really helped out, and I have a coupler and an adapter plate that I'll be able to use for this project. So I will break those out and do a proper video on that when I am working on this. But we have a little bit of truck progress, folks. Apologies again, it hasn't been as to the front as you might have liked. Okay, E36. I had a guy out here sandblasting the horrible paint off the front of the house. And while he was here, he very kindly sandblasted the rear subframe, suspension mounts and control arms for me. And I've been painting those here with a nice blue tinge, which is of course plus 20 horsepower. So we're making a little bit of progress on the E36. I also went for, where am I gone here? Oh yeah, these are the original control arms. These have the drum brakes, so I splurged and we have gone with the disc brake control arm. So I've got all new what's the word for it, bushes and things to go into these. I've a whole bunch of parts here in the back of the car. You know, I've got like flipping boxes from BMW, boxes from the motor factors, all kinds of parts here I've been building up as I've been able to afford them. We've got new back plates for those control arms. Also here I splurged again, and we have, what are these? E46 330i front calipers and brackets, which we'll be putting on the red arrow. So we'll have upgraded front brakes, and obviously we have our calipers then for the rears, because we'll be on discs on the rear then. I picked up a little trailer as well for €200 locally. It's got two new wheels on it. I think it's 5x3, something like that. So really handy for moving stuff around and collecting things. So yeah, the Grey Goose will be doing some towing soon, so you'll be able to, of course I'll have to do all of those clickbait, you know, I only got 2.1 feet towing with my electric car or whatever, so watch out for that. The Blowbar I haven't done anything with. It's been a kind of a This car is just again been used for storage of some various Muskwell components in there at the minute. So sadly not really done anything with this project. My project order really is to get the Panzer driving, and then we'll bring the Red Arrow into the barn hopefully for the winter. Muskwell. Sorry again folks, but on this one I've had no real progress since you last saw me putting the drive unit and the subframe in here. I did split the original Volvo drive shafts. So I split off the inner CV joints from them and just popped them in there, more so just to make sure that I'd everything kind of lined up. Probably can't really see that too well. Let's see if we can see here. So yeah, I have the original Volvo outer drive shafts in there. I have two then Elon-esque ones to go into his side of things here, and we'll be kind of making those up hopefully pretty soon, because it'd actually be quite easy to spin this up just here and actually start to put a little bit of load on it for the first time, so that'd be nice. So again, apologies I haven't really made a whole load of progress on this project, but it's certainly not dead. And yeah, I have drive shafts. I think I have them in the back actually. I think I have the Tesla ones are in the back. Are they in there? Yeah, there's the Tesla ones in there. I've got those split. So we'll have the Tesla inners and the Volvo outers, and then we'll hopefully get to experience some torques there. Okay, charging point. As you're going to notice here, there's a bit of a change. Elon decided to have a bit of a bad hair day, and he started causing me all kinds of trouble. He started flashing his red light, his red stripy light thing at me, and then he was tripping the RCD in the workshop. So I came across this Zappy, which was of course faulty. So got that, fixed it, had to replace 2 relays in it. But that's working. Very fancy kind of thing with all kinds of menus and stuff in it. Don't know anything about that, but if you tap it, the screen lights up, so that's kind of neat. It's got some good info display on here telling you how much power the car's taken and that kind of thing. When I first tried to use it, again, I don't know anything about these. When I first tried to use it, it started erroring out on grid overpower or grid overload or something. And apparently then there was, let me see, I don't even know if you're going to be able to see this screen here, but there was this thing on current transformers. Thank you. Oh yeah, CT config. So I had to turn off that current transformer, CT1. CT1 I had to turn off. So it was set to some G100 or something like that. And I don't think there is a CT1 in this, or it wasn't supplied to me anyway. So it doesn't, it seems to work fine, but it thinks all the energy is coming from the sun. So I don't know. But main thing is it charges the car. If anyone has any knowledge on that, do let me know. And literally while I was filming that, the postman turned up with some more E36 parts. This time suspension pads for the rear springs. Now I know some of you had been asking me for updates on the house, and that is what I have been doing for quite some time this summer. So you'll see first of all here, this which used to be an old cast iron gutter, been taken off. I've got a new fascia board on here, so all the old metal brackets that were beaten into the wall had to be all cut off. I've also pitched the gutter this way because I'm sending all of my water from the roof this way. and I'll show you why in a minute. But that's tidied up the back, and I've done this one here as well. So we used to have a downspout here, that's now at the side, and they're all going that way. You'll also notice I have an old transit van parked here. Now don't worry, it's not a new EV conversion project. That is just storage for my furniture at the minute, because as you'll see, this shed is Mr. Sandman blasted it all off for me, and I'm going to be doing some work on this shed throughout the winter. So it's going to get a new roof, new doors, windows and all this, and this will actually become part of the dwelling house. So this will be a kind of a living room, sitting room sort of a thing when I'm finished. So it doesn't look it at the minute, but that is the plan. Down here at the side, I've just got a couple of temporary down pipes in here at the minute, because right down here we've moved our rain harvesting tanks, and we'll be connecting into our first flush diverter here and doing a bit of pipe work and drainage work out here with our JCB. Don't know if I've shown you this area here. This used to be an absolute mess job. So in June here, when I had to rent a digger in here, dug out all of this nightmare. It was full of weeds and rubbish. So got all this cleaned out, and there was a huge tree here that was going right up over the house. So got that professionally cut down. So I've cut off a good bit of that now, and getting these large lumps of tree pulled up the field will be another job for our famous JCB. And then this area here, we'll have a window here, and this will be a little bit of a garden, hopefully here. I'll show you the front of the house from this angle as well. Don't know how it's going to come out, but front of the house is probably where biggest changes have occurred. I'll show you from the other angle, I'll be able to see it better, but all the horrible paint, it's all sandblasted off, and we've repainted the front and done gutters here as well. I'll show you better from the far side now. Okay, so around here now have a lawn, or at least the beginnings of one, and over here is where I used to have the rain harvesting tanks. As you will see here, we've got the pipe that used to feed in here, so that's all moved over the far side, and my gas bottles here can move up onto this plinth that I had made here. So we've all of our underground pipe work done. We've got a grey water system in. There was an old flue on here that's finally gone, filled up here. I got to plaster that, and round the front then, actually if I go over here you'll probably be able to get a better look see at it. So there's the front of the house now. I'll see if I can find a picture of what it looked like previously. But so I had to get all the old paint sandblasted off, repainted, did the same again here with fascias, gutters, sending all of our water that way. And I've just been putting up some outside lighting. Got one here, one on the far side, and there we go, there's one up on that gable as well, so I'll be able to walk around here during the winter time, for getting out here to close and open the gates and stuff like that. So yeah, a little bit of progress here on the house for sure. So back on the cars, Land Yacht has been absolutely a champion. The only thing I have to do with this is it needs a screen wash pump, which of course I have but haven't fitted yet. Now the Goose, believe it or not, has had a very busy time as well. The Goose has been in the UK. I think over a couple of days we did like 600 miles or something stupid. So it was my first time in the UK with an electric vehicle, fast charging, and had quite a good experience with that. However, shortly after coming back, the old Model 3 PCS here under the bonnet failed again, and I decided I'd had enough of it, and we did a bit of a change. So let's have a look at that. So in the front, as you'll see, we have a bit of a change. We no longer have our Model 3 PCS in here. Instead we have this beastie, which is our Mitsubishi Outlander plug-in hybrid charger and DC-DC converter. So that's what we're using now in here. It's single phase, 3.6 kilowatts, so it's significantly less power than the PCS had, but I just got to the point with the PCS that I just had enough of it, and I just didn't want to get involved with it anymore. I'd fixed it about a half a dozen times. Was that ISO isolator chip failed again on that stupid IPC CAN system that they have, which is completely pointless. And I'd replaced the chip so many times on there that it eventually just ripped off all the pads, and I just said, no, you know what, no. So the guys on Discord recommended the Outlander charger, put it in here, and took the opportunity to paint up the front battery box that I've never actually done. So it was really good to do that. I've been turning my hand at some 3D printing, some clips and things like that. So yeah, Outlander charger, 3.6 kilowatts. So it's been going fine so far, and obviously we have the CCS fast charging on here with the limb, so it's not really a problem. You know, a couple of hours charging here on a time charge at night doesn't make any difference whether you're 3.3 or 3.6 or 6.5 or whatever it is. Anyway, it just doesn't really make any difference. So yeah, that's that was the. But again, fortunately, at least it didn't happen while I was in the UK. It happened about a week after I came back. So yeah, this guy has been going great. I know, I'm avoiding the Bamford in the room, but don't worry, there will be a video on this soon. It's going to come back up here now to the E36. I'm going to dump more parts in. Because what does the E36 like more than rust? More parts. There we go, E36, chow down on them. Alright, let's go up the field. The solar farm. Farming the sun. Going great. When I was here with the mini digger back in June, we got in proper trunking for the cable. I haven't actually ran the cable through it yet, so that's going to be a job for me. Now that we have the Bamford, we might actually trench this here and bring it up round the back of the arrays here, because then we can kind of tie in this array and this one here and the one up here. Now I do have another array to put in because my pal Dave gave me some more panels. So up here, possibly, I haven't even figured this part out yet. I'm kind of doing this on the fly. Possibly up here, could clear a bit of that hill with the JCB, and it's only 2 panels, so I might just kind of just kind of tie it in here. These are all very temporary mounts. I'm not doing a huge amount of work on them, just purely because ultimately we'll be doing something a lot more permanent than this, but this is just to get me some free energy, which is working. Up here in the corner, my neighbour very kindly donated all of these trees to me, so that's part of the reason we're doing the log splitter. So again, being able to move those around and cut them up and split them up will give us some free fuel. So there's the old homestead. What else? Oh yeah, the guy that wait now, hang on, no, we'll cover that in the next video. Last thing is, I had been planning on painting the roof of the shed. Really hope I might still be able to do that. Fingers crossed. But yeah, so right, that's the outside part. Okay, let's back in for a minute now. For the Panzer, As I said, I will do a dedicated video on where we are with the Panzer and various Panzer bits. I'm just going to run you through a few things on the bench here that we have going on, just to complete the old barn update. The eagle-eyed amongst you will remember this guy. This is our, I think, Audi, well, let's call it Volkswagen Group 48 volt mild hybrid starter generator thing. So these components are basically how the automotive industry will perpetuate combustion engines way past any deadlines or cut-off dates that our wonderful governments can ever manage. That being said, apologies for the cynicism, we can take advantage of this and reuse them for our own EV purposes. Now, some years ago, I think it was like 2020 or even 2019 when I got this, and it's basically CAN controlled. You feed it 48 volts, give it some CAN and it'll spin. But unfortunately, a CAN log from the vehicle or whatever just wasn't available. This is my big bugbear with all the reverse engineering stuff, of course, is trying to get CAN logs. Anyway, CAN log popped up thanks to a member of the Open Inverter Forum, and without really thinking it was going to work at all, I just threw the CAN log at it, and to my surprise, even with this garbage power supply here providing the 48 volt, it spun. So it'll be just a thing now of working out what messages actually do what with it. So that'll be a little reverse engineering project for me. Don't ask me to power things of this. I think I have a GitHub where I have all this on it. So you can check my GitHub. I think there's a mild hybrid starter generator thing on there. But I think it's something like either 5 kilowatt continuous or 10 kilowatt peak or something like that anyway. So anyway, that's now spinnable via CAN without any modification. So super happy with that. Let me just go over here. Oh yeah, so I've been getting to grips with old FreeCAD. And as you know, there's nothing quite like having to put a square peg into a round hole. And that's what I'm going to be doing with my rain harvesting system. So I've been designing some custom thingies. This will take that square 65 millimeter white downpipe and put it into one 10 millimeter waste pipe for me. So quite proud of that, actually. Wow, I know, like friggin', I know I'm a threat to the 3D CAD world. Not. Okay. Hello to this guy. It'll be upside down now, our old SIAC Motors charger. What we have here is the onboard charger from an MGZS EV electric vehicle. So basically these are one of these Chinese made EVs that just basically bought the MG brand. So I think they're sold under the MG brand, but there's a kind of a generic vehicle. Anyway, got this charger. It's a 6.6 kilowatt charger, and I was doing some experiments with it here. I did get a CAN log from a vehicle. I was unlucky though in that the CAN log didn't include the startup of the charging sequence. So it just basically, the person that did the log for me started charging the car, took a CAN log for a period of time, stopped charging the car, and that was it. So I can't actually get this to start up. So that was unfortunate. So I'm hoping to get another CAN log where we start logging, plug in the car, charge it for like 30 seconds, 20 seconds, switch off the charging, plug it out, then stop the CAN log. And I think once we have that, we should be able to get this charger up and running. It has a bigger brother from, I think it's the MG5 EV that has vehicle to load capability. So I'm really interested in that as well. So again, if anyone has logs or can take logs for me, that'd be great. And just to answer the proverbial question that tends to come up when I mention this, no, you cannot get the logs from the OBD port. You're going to have to go into the wiring harness somewhere. What else we got going on? I was back working on the Volkswagen Chargers as well. They are really painful to make work. You can make them work. Like this hybrid, this is the 3.6 kilowatt single phase hybrid one. I was even having trouble getting that to work again now after having it worked previously. So a bit of a pain in the neck. This is the 11 kilowatt 3-phase one. As I said, there was a guy there that has gotten that running. I did copy what he did and I got it to, output power, which was pretty amazing. But that being said, I don't really think it's something that I can kind of make an instructional video on and show you how to do it, because it's an absolute, it's a nut job of a thing, because you're kind of, I know I've done some work on it here, but you're doing, computers and coding and reprogramming and mongoose cables. Yeah, there's my mongoose there. Say hello to the internet, mongoose. And so yeah, it's not much fun basically trying to use these things. Now I haven't given up, but I've just kind of parked them here for a bit, which kind of led me to trying experimenting with the MG charger, because again, I think we're really struggling as a community to get a good, well, not a good, but a few charger choices in there that we can avail of. Das Buch. Okay, folks, I know not strictly, part of the barn update, but I think it kind of should be, and that is the Johannesburg. Now, I know it's not just written by Johannes, there's several authors, and I won't attempt to pronounce their names because I'll just make such a nightmare out of it. I'm only just getting around the old umlauts these days. But, okay, my view on the Johannesburg. So, I'm well over a decade now messing about with EVs in one way or another. And when I started off in this, I did what I usually do when I come across a new topic that I want to learn something on. Try and find a book. And found several books. I've even found more over the period of time that I've been involved in this, and either bought them from a library or whatever the situation was. And I can hands down say all of them were about as much use as an ashtray on a motorbike. Now, I'm not going to name any of them, but for anyone either starting out, particularly starting out, or even trying to expand your knowledge, learn a bit more, learn to do stuff better, whatever, useless. Now, some of you may recall that well prior to the house move, I had kind of mooted that I was going to do something like this. But as usual for me, a lot of things, life just gets in the way. And it didn't happen for me. And then when this came out, I was kind of like, wow, okay. If there'd been, not ego mode active, but if there'd been anyone that I could have nominated to do this other than myself, it definitely would have been Johannes and the other authors. Simply because nothing beats real world knowledge, real world experience when you screw up, when you kind of here and you're tired and you've made a mistake and something's just gone wrong, but you've got to get up tomorrow and restart it. That kind of just hard-earned grit. So my review on this is going to be that it's not just the best book that I've came across on this subject. I would say for anyone, no matter what stage that you may be in, even myself, I've learned stuff from going through this, and there's probably more in here that I'm going to learn as I kind of go back over it, because books like this, they're not like a novel where you kind of read it and that's it. You know, you keep coming back to this stuff. So yes, I would highly recommend you to purchase das Buch. So folks, that's a bit of a broad spectrum barn, house, lab, call it what you will, update. I do want to apologize that I haven't been making video for you over the last couple of months. Really, I know I've been behind the curve with that. Part of that is because I took on some paid work. There was actually 3 jobs that I took on, as well as working on the house. Yes, they were EV related. No, I was not doing conversions for people. It was mostly remedial work on vehicles that had been converted before and were basically either never worked or were no longer functioning. And some of the stuff on there was truly terrifying. Now, if it had been done by amateurs, you said, wow, you know, okay, that's one thing, but you know, these had been done by so-called professionals, and it was, yeah. I can't talk about that. I'm not going to talk about it here publicly, but wow, let's just say, not good. But anyway, the upshot of that is I'm finished with that stuff now. I do it once in a while if something particularly interests me, or if I've got a little bit of leeway. So I did it this time, and I'm going to be leaving it a good while before I do anything like that again. So that's kind of, as I said, between working on the house, working on those paying projects, and also I have been working here quite a bit on the Panzer in particular, as you'll see in an upcoming episode. Anyway, I've gone on for long enough. So don't forget to dislike, unshare, unsubscribe. Don't financially support me on any of these platforms, links, or any of that stuff, because if you do that, then you're just going to get more of these crazy things. And as we say, who wants that? So I'll leave you there. And until next time, happy hydraulic ram fixing.